A pivotal SEC Week 12 is upon us. Texas versus Georgia, Bama versus Oklahoma. It is time to get the SEC squad together.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the SEC squad. Sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we get you ready for another week talking all things SEC. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. And let's welcome in our panel this week. I'm Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC. We got Jimmy Stein from Locked On Bama. We got Clint Shamblin from Locked On Bulldogs. Welcome back, Clint. Good to have you with us. We got Corey Burton, Locked On Vandy, Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss, and Jay Smith joining us from Locked On Sooners. Gentlemen, it is crunch time here. We are winding down. So let's start off, as we always do, with a prediction for your team this week. Not exactly a game prediction, but something you may think may happen with your team. Jimmy, let's start with you and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I think Saturday you'll see a matchup of the two best defenses in the SEC, so take the under.
Yeah, I think the low scoring is probably right in this one. Jay, you're on the other side. Give me a quick prediction on your squad.
I think Oklahoma keeps the streak alive of 100-yard rushing, and Xavier Robinson gets 100 yards again.
That'll certainly be
right on the dot.
A recipe for Oklahoma pulling off the upset. Clint, Georgia versus Texas. This one was a good one twice last year.
It was certainly good for us. This is going to surprise no one that's looking at numbers or game film. Gunner Stockton outshines Arch Manning on a national stage, and people start talking about him more than Arch.
I saw he was named a Maxwell Award finalist this week, Gunner Stockton was. Corey Burton, give me a prediction for your squad.
Well, Vandy's on a bye, so I'm guessing Diego Pavia is going to hang out with Theo Vaughn this weekend is my prediction. Not much there, but I got Kentucky next week, so getting fired up for that. And New Mexico State, Vandy's farm team, is playing Tennessee this week, so that'd be good.
If he's hanging out with Diego, will Diego's mom be around? That's the question. Stephen Willis,
so. Probably.
Give me a prediction for Ole Miss.
It'd be the best atmosphere in the history of Vaught Hemingway Stadium because a win over the Florida Gators gets Ole Miss basically into the playoff, and that's a pretty big moment, and the fan base recognizes it.
Also, the school that is courting Lane, so it'd be really nice to.
Yeah, it's not going to be nice. The hospitality state will not be hospitable Saturday.
A late add to our segment one here. Everybody, Hurricane Locked On Vols jumping in with us. You guys got New Mexico State, kind of a dud, but give me a prediction for your team.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee will win by a lot. New Mexico State is certainly the farm system for a lot of teams, not just Vanderbilt, man. There are New Mexico State players all over this league. It's pretty remarkable. Mike Washington, Seth McGowan, two running backs were on that team last year. Now, with Arkansas and Kentucky. So it's been very, obviously the loss to Oklahoma, and then you had a bye, and then you have this week, not a lot of juice. So just get past it and get ready for the matchup in the Swamp.
Yeah, real quick while we got you, Eric, I was reading some articles out of Knoxville that some Vol fans may be unhappy with Heupel. Where's the fan base right now with him?
Emotional. I think that was more immediately following the Oklahoma loss and upset and frustrated and all that. But I think, once cooler heads prevailed, you kind of sat back there and said, all right, you're literally on the best stretch of football you've had since the early 2000s, since the late 90s. And, fan, I say it all the time, fan is short for fanatic, but I think any reasonable Tennessee fan is seeing all that talk. I'm like, well, shut up, dude. like, don't say that. This is the best thing that's happened to Tennessee in quite some time. Just a lot of frustrations, obviously, because you're knocked out of the playoff and you're not making the playoff.
Well, after a month of having an SEC coach fired week after week after week, we finally had a week where one was not fired, and Mark Stoops, maybe the one that was on the hot seat, he keeps winning games, so maybe he's not going to be out at the end of the year.
Hey,
Clint,
you just needed Tennessee's defense to unlock Cutter Bowley, all right? There you have it.
Clint, did you have something?
Well, I was just going to say, Eric, you said no way into the playoff. There's a path, my friend. I'm just here to tell you.
Greg Sankey said 16 even Tennessee
is what I'm saying.
Yeah. He said even Tennessee, so there is hope.
I'm down. I mean, sign me up.
Texas
Tennessee's
is not making the playoff. I'm going to tell you that right now, Eric.
Tennessee's
Texas is
only
not
win, only like good win, not even signature win. Good win would be Vanderbilt at the end of the year. That would be
exactly.
it. So.
Yeah, that's the case I always make for making the playoff. They always want to bring up who'd you lose to. I always go to who'd you beat. What's your best resume win? We know Bama beat 4 top 25 teams in a row. Yeah. Their resume is great. It's the other side of who'd you beat. Gents, let's get into the games this weekend. Let's start with since we got Oklahoma and Alabama here, Jay and Jimmy. Let's start with you guys. A monster game that last year in Norman we saw Oklahoma beat Alabama and really kind of ruined their season. So where are we on this one? Jimmy, we'll start with you.
Boy, it is a huge matchup. You got Oklahoma fighting for their playoff lives. Alabama, you don't clinch a spot in Atlanta for the SEC championship game with the win, but you're highly likely to do so. I think the possibilities of Alabama not making it to Atlanta are pretty slim with a win this weekend. So both teams playing for a lot. Two great defenses, two teams that are pretty similar in this sense. Two really good defenses. John Mateer, the September Heisman winner, maybe Ty Simpson, the October Heisman winner. Both teams struggling to run the ball, I think, has been a common issue between the two teams. I think it's going to be very low scoring, an interesting matchup between Brent Venables' defense and Ryan Grubb's offense. I think that's an interesting angle here. But in the end, I think it's going to be very tight. I will be shocked if this is not a one-score game late.
Jake?
Yeah, no, I'm in the exact same boat. This is going to be a close game, a battle of Ryan Grubb now against Brent Venables. You get a new offensive coordinator to battle against him, and then Womack gets to go up against Ben Arbuckle for the first time. I think I saw a quote floating around. He was mentioning about how it happened last year, but Ben wasn't there. I honestly don't even know if that was really him that said that. I've been seeing so much AI stuff.
They
the last
matched up in the
hours.
Sun Belt back when Arbuckle was in the Sun Belt and Womack was at South Alabama.
There we go. So that's where that connection comes back to those
baby.
two.
Fun belt,
not sun, but fun, right? Get a little action going on too, but I digress. It's going to be interesting because it's going to be a defensive battle. I really think it's going to be another low-scoring game, and truth be told, I think this game ends up similar to the Georgia one. I think it's going to be in that realm, 24, 21, 23, 20-ish range or whatnot, where a field goal is going to be the one that really clinches it and takes the win. Luckily for Oklahoma, we've had 3 straight games where we had a 100-yard rusher. I'm just hoping that we can keep that streak alive, and I think that would help us in time control of this game, the time of possession, because that was probably the thing Missouri wanted to do to try to beat Alabama, and they just could not get someone outside of Bo Pribula to be able to run the ball a lot, and so or get production out of it. So I think Oklahoma is going to be their focal point for this game as well.
I'm intrigued to see. I mean, Tennessee just played Oklahoma, so it's kind of fresh on the mind. I mean, and this was not breaking news. I knew Oklahoma's defense was really fierce and really good going into the matchup. Easily the best defense that I've seen this year that at least Tennessee's played. So quick in the back end, man. Those windows close in a hurry. You get to the edge if you're running the football, and then there's nowhere to go. For a defense that's so good, they don't create a lot of takeaways. They did against Tennessee.
Right.
Ty Simpson does not turn the football over. Alabama does not make mistakes. I am so intrigued to see what this looks like because I think Oklahoma's offense, where when Mateer was healthy earlier in the year, I thought they were legit. That defense has been legit all year long. I think this is going to be such a good game. And again, Ty Simpson turned the football over twice. He fumbled once, right? I know he's on one pick. Is it twice, Jimmy?
He's fumbled. He's actually fumbled 4 times this season, all on sack, blindside sack hits, all 4. But he has only thrown 1 interception through the 9 games.
Tennessee made him fumble once. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, that offense just doesn't make mistakes. So I think this is going to be a really nice little chess match with that offense and that defense.
Here's my question for you, Jay. Tell me this right now. Who do you feel more confident in? Oklahoma stopping the run or Oklahoma stopping the pass?
Oh, 100% pass stopping the run. That's literally the only thing that we do really, really good on the defense. That's the one thing I can say with confidence, and I can say with conviction and be excited about.
Well,
that's like the bread and butter for Tennessee, right? Deshaun Bishop only got 38 yards rushing in that game. They 63 yards total, and that's the one thing that we're gonna focus on. Now, granted, as you said that, the thing that terrifies me in this game is that Ty Simpson is very good at throwing darts. He is a very accurate quarterback. He's efficient. He takes his time. He's patient. And that offensive line has been really good at giving him just comfort to where he doesn't have those, he doesn't have happy feet. The Joey Aguilar piece was, and even me and Eric talked about this before the game, like Joey, and I actually saw some other guys that break down film say this, Joey has a quick release, but he has a very long windup. So you kind of have an idea where it's going, but he gets it there and boom, it's right there in the receiver's hands. You're like, crap, you missed your window. That's something that felt like we paid attention to. We can't do that with Ty. His quick release, quick windup. That ball is gone. So if we're going to jump anything, we've got to do it super early. We're not dealing with Jalen Milroe here, who was very easy to telegraph last year for us. We're going to have to go against a guy and really play with a lot of anticipation and pray that we don't get dusted by one of those receivers.
And Lane did his slow the game down. They played the time of possession game against Oklahoma. I don't think that Alabama will do that. They will run their normal offense, and Oklahoma does have the defensive line to make the Alabama quarterback hurt if they get back there. If there's a fumble, if there's a turnover, that could change this game as it goes. I expect a relatively low-scoring game, but Oklahoma's defensive line, that might be the X factor in this game.
Now, Jimmy, in playing Alabama earlier in the season, it seemed like Vanderbilt pretty much got them where they wanted them to be as being a one-dimensional team. The only problem is for Vanderbilt and for a lot of teams that have played Alabama is that Alabama seems to be more comfortable in knowing that it's not really going to run too effectively, maybe just effectively enough. But when you have Ty Simpson and those weapons, it makes it a little easier. So for me, that's kind of going to be the tipping point there. And Jay, how does Oklahoma's defense combat that? A team that's so comfortable being one-dimensional when that's what you want them to be.
Alabama's been stubborn about the run game, though it's been extremely ineffective. I mean, last week you only rushed for 56 yards against LSU, which is a meager total, but it was on 26 carries. I mean, they stick with it even though it doesn't work. But I think it helps Ty. If you just abandon it, you're putting too much on Ty. But they stick with it, and they're pretty good at converting on third downs. But the run game has been a massive issue for Alabama. It just hasn't been good. I don't know that they're going to rush for 100 yards against Eastern Illinois next week.
And I think for us, to that point, our job is going to have to be to get to Ty Simpson as fast as possible. We've got to get him under pressure and make him get rid of the ball a little bit earlier than he wants to. And I think that's where this defensive line can excel. But there's no guarantee. This offensive line for Alabama, some big boys, and they're strong. They're known for that. So we'll see what the edges look like, if our edges can do it, because right now it does not appear that our Mason Thomas, our big-time lineman, the one that returned the fumble against Tennessee, I don't think he's going to play in this game. I think he's dealing with a leg situation, and if he's not playing, it's going to be some of the young pups, and we just got to hope that they can go in there and get those get the pressure too.
Absolutely.
He's a stud.
He's a dude, man.
Real quick, guys, show of hands. Are you going to roll with the Tide at home? I like them at home.
Yeah, I like
All right, Jay.
I agree. You're fine. I would too if I didn't think that we could make this game muddy.
Plus, I need you guys out of our way.
I've gotten sick of saying this might be the week Bama loses. They don't lose. They keep winning. When we return, guys, Gunner versus Arch. It's a big one. We'll discuss it next. Hey, back to the Squad show in just a second. But first, we'll remind you guys the NBA is back. No better place to get in on the nightly action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Of course, they got you covered with all the sports out there, from pro football to, of course, college and all those big SEC games. They got up there for you on FanDuel each and every week. And, of course, whether you want to do money line, whether you want to do the spread, whether you want to do parlays, put a bunch of games together, pick some big upsets in the SEC. Those are always big payouts over at FanDuel. It just keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team is making that late push and you gotta, them minus the points or plus the points, whatever it is fun. And right now, FanDuel, they're giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So just head to FanDuel.com, sign up today. If you've never signed up before, play your game with FanDuel. They are the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and take advantage of that new bonus they got there for new customers. $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins, only at FanDuel. SEC Squad rolling along here, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. And Clint, let's jump into it, man. It is Dogs versus Horns. The 7-2 Texas Longhorns somehow were preseason number 1, then not ranked, and now back in the top 10. Playoff hope still alive. Georgia's kind of been consistent. They've been sitting around top 5 all year, and that's kind of where they are. So give me a thought on this one.
College football done screwed up because you didn't take your shot at the king when you could have, and Georgia's figuring stuff out now. And this offense is the most efficient offense in the nation. Gunner Stockton is the best quarterback, and you could say Ty Simpson, and I won't fight you. So I'm going to say second best quarterback in the SEC. Nope, not third, Corey. You shut your hole. His efficiency running the ball, his efficiency, 2 interceptions all year long. He's protecting the football. He is scoring in the red zone. His run game and his leg game is absolutely incredible. He is carrying this team for the first half of the season. Mississippi State showed us last week what Georgia defense can become. Glenn Schumann apparently heard our cries from the ether. He listens to the podcast because we've been begging for more pressure. He gave it right on the second drive, changed things up. And this Texas offensive line is not good. They lost a lot of talent, and they have been very subpar, to say the least. Georgia doesn't give up big plays. Texas kind of feasts on big plays. Arch is figuring some stuff out right now, which if he gets it going, okay. But Georgia stops the run. Best team in not giving up plays over 20 yards, and this offense is the most efficient. So I actually don't see – I mean, I'm asking, what is the path? And unless Arch all of a sudden comes out and says, I've been fooling y'all all year, there's not a metric, there's not a position, there's nothing that tells me Texas can have an advantage in this game whatsoever.
Well, Clint, I will say, I think being the only team that has played Texas in this panel here, what they did to get in a rhythm against Vanderbilt, and what they did to get in a rhythm against Mississippi State in the second half was they just simplified things and became more efficient themselves, throwing the quick screens, throwing the slants, hitches, crossing routes, intermediate crossing routes, things like that to kind of get Arch Manning comfortable, because they knew at that point, they kind of resigned to the fact that he's not going to sit back there and try to pick you apart because his offensive line can't hold up. And if they try to do that, Georgia's going to feast. But for Glenn Schumann in this defense, they've got to play a little bit tighter coverage there. They've got to be able to tackle in space, which Vanderbilt gloriously failed to do for 3.5 quarters of that game. And if they can do that, they can make Texas march down the field. And if Texas is going to score 12, 13, 14 plays, I don't think they can do that consistently. They are a big strike, big play offense. So if they can do that, if Georgia can force them to just 2 yards here, 3 yards there, 6 yards there, I think it'll give them some room to kind of take the game over.
To kind of piggyback on Corey there, it's a team that's played against Texas. It's really getting them out on third down. That's probably one of the things I think Texas has actually done pretty good, especially with Arch, is if you go look at the passing charts, when he was terrible, they were doing deep passes on a regular basis. When they got better, they kept having a whole bunch of shorter passes, and those receivers did the work. The yak was up. So I can actually see Texas trying to do that again against this Georgia defense. Will they be successful? I don't know, but
what's really wild is every single team represented here has a better third down conversion rate than Texas does.
Most of the season, yeah, I agree. I'm talking about the last few, like how they've been playing the last few games. Not all season. No, you're 100% right. But the last few, when they've actually started to look like a better team, it has been, of course, everybody's been praising Arch for it, but they've been converting third and doing a lot of shorter plays. So
because it's third and short and not third and long.
Exactly, in comparison to what they were doing before. And like you said, that offensive line is not good.
Can I say the key is going to be the run game, though? Like Trey Wisner has not been, none of those guys have been healthy all year. They just had their bye week. So if that backfield is back feeling good, what would Wisner have? 75 yards on a touchdown against Vanderbilt? If Texas can get back to the dominant run game, that was their bread and butter last year, that's going to be the key for them.
But that's the problem, is that line isn't there for that. That's where your issue is. The line's just not creating holes for it.
Yeah, they're not.
I had Gary Patterson on my show and talking about the Georgia defense specifically and that Nick Saban tree of what was going on. And he talked about how Texas did a lot of slow developing pin and pull type run game. And you can't do that against the Georgia defense. If Sark is smart enough to directly go at the line where it's a dive, belly, stuff like that, that will be more successful. And Texas does have some backs that can make you hurt, but you can't do the window dressing, these slow developing plays, or they'll eat you alive.
Yeah, it's really wild. Texas's rush offense is something like 74th in the nation. They're in the 70s in running the ball. They're not a power dominant team. And I don't see them all of a sudden getting that anywhere this weekend because they don't have the horses. Running backs can be healthy, but we saw last year for Georgia, Georgia's biggest deficit last year was we were bottom of the barrel come rushing, and that's what killed this team. This year, we're in the top 30, 90 yards better rushing each game for Georgia. It's been incredible for us, and that's what this game, Texas better hope it's 17-14. They better hope their front seven comes in for Arch, because I can see this game 31 points for Georgia is what I think is kind of bare minimum against this defense because of the efficiency in Zachariah Brandt. So if Texas has to score over 30, I don't like their odds at all in this game on the road in Athens. And that's where I come down to. That's where I say I don't see a metric unless all of a sudden you can stop this run game. And all due respect to Alabama, because I got a lot of respect for their offensive line, and everybody's the best offensive line right now. Georgia is playing incredible ball. The rating on these guys who are 18 years old, the guards, is incredible. So Texas needs to stop the run in a big hurry to stay in this game and make it competitive.
I would say that the Georgia secondary maybe isn't as feared as the ones in years past. So maybe that's the 100%. Recipe. If Arch, maybe it is throw with Arch a ton. And does he make that big mistake, throw the one big interception that could cost them?
If he throws it down the field, that the odds of that happening are very, very high. Like Jay and I have been saying, like their recipe, their key is throw it quick and let those guys get yak and try to break tackles.
They need to get your game breakers in space and let them do work. And if you were forcing Arch to throw it deep, he's probably going to make a lot of mistakes on this Georgia defense. In the Vanderbilt and the Oklahoma game, they were really good in third down efficiency, but that's really about it. Like other two games, they should have lost them, but whatever. Teams don't want to close like we need them to. But when they started getting really, really slow and methodical on it, you started to see them actually convert some stuff. It was taking their time, and so the problem for them is you can't take too much time when it comes to this Georgia defense. They're probably going to hit you in your head.
Moment of truth, guys. Who's sticking with the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens, where they rarely ever lose? Okay, so clean sweep. I'll say this though: if Texas finds a way to win, I think Georgia wins out. They still make the playoff. But that game in Austin, A&M at Texas, can you imagine that atmosphere where Texas knows if they beat the Aggies, they're in the playoff potentially? I think that would certainly be a fun one. All right, when we return
actually, to add to that real quick, if Texas does somehow pull this off and they beat A&M, they're in the SEC championship game.
Correct.
Yeah, I was trying to. My head was spinning trying to figure out all those scenarios this week on Ole Miss and A&M, and we'll just let it play out. We'll see. I missed the East and the West, where it was a lot easier to figure out who's going to Atlanta. But when we return, guys, we got a few other games we'll touch on here. SEC Squad Show rolling along. Back to the squad in just a second, for guys. But when the opening whistle blows on a new repair, you got to get your crew moving, and that is with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep by tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items for the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times will keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has next-day delivery. You talk about a game changer, and their Trademaster perks like priority shipping, dedicated support, it makes the whole process smoother. And you can join the free Trademaster program today and score some serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and that dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com, sign up for free, and use promo code SHCollege5. Get 5% off your first order. That's at supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right, it's the SEC Squad, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. And guys, quick hitters. I'll just throw out some of the other games this weekend. Whoever wants to jump in and tackle these other games, feel free. Let's start with 11:45 a.m. Central. It'll be 2-7 Arkansas at 5-4 LSU. Anybody got a vibe on this one?
Who's the quarterback for LSU now? That's what I'm really curious about. That's the only thing I care about. Who they're going to trot out there?
President Van Buren?
Well,
why doesn't he wear number 8? One Van Buren, the 8th president, the kid should be wearing number 8. You could sign an NIL deal with the White House.
Only Jimmy would know that. I have no idea. On the early,
I was around. I was around for the Buchanan presidency, dude.
Hey, and LSU's refiring Brian Kelly, so everything's going to be fine there.
He should show up to the sideline and coach that game because technically he wasn't terminated.
Oh my word!
Hey, Arkansas's defense is so bad, though. I almost feel like it doesn't matter who LSU starts at quarterback.
Yeah,
you're
right there. You're right there.
Ugh.
It is brutal.
Yeah, they're hurting our strength of schedule right now. Like this Alabama game, we desperately have to have because Missouri and LSU's not helping us anymore.
Anybody want to take Petrino and the SEC win here, or roll with LSU?
I do not.
I'm going to I am in solidarity with neighbors.
I'm taking Arkansas.
Van Buren does make LSU a little tougher to defend with his versatility. I really think they're a little more dangerous right now with Van Buren than they are with Nussmeier, who to me has just been clearly dinged up all year long.
I'll take Arkansas because that defense that LSU has is not good. We all thought they were good. They're actually quite bad. And so this is going to be a relatively low profile shootout, I think. And I'm here for it. I'll take Arkansas.
A slap fight is what's going to be.
Yeah,
I think they played well. I thought they played well against Bama last week.
Here.
LSU at 11:45 is a different LSU than normal. So
Can attest.
I'm interested to see if morning LSU shows up.
Well, I mean, Tennessee beat the crap out of them back in 2022. Just walked off the bus with a 21-point lead in the first quarter.
It was amazing.
I think Arkansas can score points. I don't think LSU can. This is kind of simple for me. Even if it's on the road, I like Arkansas.
Yeah.
Fun fact on that loss to Tennessee, that was one of only 3 home SEC losses for Brian Kelly. So it wasn't all bad for him in the 4 years he was there. How about at 11 a.m. Central on ESPN? It was 3-6 South Carolina at number 3 undefeated Texas A&M. Does Sellers and company give A&M any kind of challenge here?
In August, this game was phenomenal, but now it's just not.
Stinky. It's stinky poo. It's terrible. Texas A&M should go out there and do as they please. The way South Carolina has played on offense has been awful. They've already fired their offensive coordinator as well as their offensive line coach. It's been bad. I did not expect them to be this awful. Now, granted, a lot of us thought that they were going to be bad last season. And somehow that last season just changed. You're like, oh, man, this team, they've got some spark. They've got some future.
Yeah,
and then the future showed up and was like, nah, bro.
Yeah. South Carolina is the team that I had this stupid story from a coach one time that said a snake that's ran over and the head is severed from the body can still bite you. That's what South Carolina is. They always have an opportunity because they do have a couple of players, and Sellers is pretty special. Beamer is the most confusing coach in the SEC for me right now that's still employed. And so do they have a shot? No, not really. But tell me that somewhere along the line, South Carolina doesn't ruin somebody's season. Before the season, I would have said yes. I think A&M handles business, but this might be closer than we anticipate.
They're not averaging 300 yards a game. They're 129th in total offense at 294th. That is disgusting. And I would have never guessed that
conversation. But I mean, Clint, you just said Lenore Sellers is special. I mean, I think he's a good athlete, but I've never gotten the hype there. Like
athlete, you're correct. Sorry,
yeah,
I should have.
Athlete, not quarterback. He's a giant human being. That's what it is.
Yes, he is. He's a guy that can make things happen, but he hasn't made enough things happen this year. And I mean, you're right, Jay. You're right. I mean, that offense, it's just atrocious, man. Like
Mike Shula is fired, though. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There might be. I saw what happened when Florida actually had a competent play caller, and then the next week
when Auburn had a competent play caller.
When Auburn
had one play caller, not 4.
Exactly. One.
That's easy, right?
Yeah.
Hey, South Carolina can't run the ball. Mike Elko, when it's 3rd and long, is really good on the defensive side of the ball.
True.
So that's the difference in this ball game.
Yeah.
A couple more real quick. This one is really fun. 4-5 Kentucky is hosting Tennessee Tech. This is supposed to be a cupcake game. Tennessee Tech is 10-0. They are undefeated. Mark Stoops got his hands full. Like, now Kentucky's peaking. They're playing their best football right now. So
Tennessee unlocked Cutter Bowley. Hey, he's going to go out there, go ham. It's going to be a rout. Tennessee Tech, the Golden Eagles have no chance.
Calzada get in this game?
No, Calzada didn't get in the last game. If everybody noticed that, he didn't play. Yeah.
Tennessee,
I hope
watch him,
that
man.
Instagram post was
All right,
worth it.
all right, Gordy, you got me intrigued.
They're defeated. They haven't lost a game.
You got me intrigued. I'm not lying. I'll turn it on.
Kentucky's going to win this game, and you have Vandy and Louisville for Kentucky to go to a bowl game this year. That's pretty cool.
Eric, give me like 20 seconds on New Mexico State, Tennessee.
Oh, I mean, New Mexico State is horrible. I was talking with a scouting guy, NFL personnel type player, that he thinks there's one player on this team that's going to be in a camp, like a summer camp, training camp. It's tough. They weren't very good last year. All their best players left. Again, a couple running backs in the SEC. Defensively, they're significantly better than what they were last year. Offensively, they got a quarterback that started at Fresno State, went to Montana last year. Just atrocious, man. Tennessee can score as many as they want to, win as much as they want to. I think this game for Tennessee is important to where it's like one of those non-conference cupcakes in November. You got young guys that you like, play them. You got young guys you want to hold on to, play them. Show them some love because that portal's coming in January.
Steven, give me a minute on Florida at Ole Miss.
It's basically stop Jaden Baugh. That's the Ole Miss task this weekend because everybody else is not available for the game. Dallas Wilson's out. Eugene Wilson's out. They're probably going to start DJ Lagway just because they don't want the true freshman to have to go in there and struggle because that could actually affect his confidence. This is a game that Ole Miss should win by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and if they don't, it's a failure.
Yeah.
Last one, guys. The night game on SEC Network. It is 5-5 Mississippi State at 6-3 Mizzou. It is the battle of the backup quarterbacks because it sounds like Blake Shapen may not go on this one for State, and we already know Mizzou's on their third string, Matt Zollers. So Mississippi State's still looking for that 6th win. I would hate for Mizzou to take a 4th loss, but man, I want Mississippi State to go bowling.
Kamario Taylor is an impressive athlete. I mean, I know he hasn't played. I know people haven't seen a lot of him. But there is a ton of talent in that kid.
Yes, sir.
And I'm real curious to see what he looks like. I think at Missouri is going to be too much for him, but I am interested in seeing what he looks like for 60 minutes.
Especially with that Missouri defense. Their defense is actually pretty legit, even though, things haven't worked out for them with the quarterbacks going down in back-to-back feels like games.
That's tough to deal with for any team. I mean,
both your starting quarterback, your backup quarterback goes out at the beginning of the season because of a run play that I still have questions about. But then your starter goes out, and now you're playing a true freshman. Yeah, he's a true freshman. And he looked okay when he came in reserve role, but when he got the start, you're like, oh, God, this kid is not ready. He is not prepared for this. And so I'm curious to see what Kamario Taylor looks like. Luke Kromenhoek, I thought he was going to be better, but obviously he will be transferring out of the SEC, or he may end up at Kentucky. I don't know. They could definitely probably take another bad backup quarterback on their roster because Cutter Bowley's getting an NIL deal somewhere else. I don't care.
It's wild to me to think that Grink is getting so much love on this carousel, by the way. I think he's a good coach. I really do.
Fair.
Penn State worthy? That's wild to me.
Also, there's nothing more dangerous in the world than a 5-win Egg Bowl team, so Ole Miss probably needs Mississippi State to beat Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. You don't want that on the line going into that one, and for Ole Miss, certainly. Gents, always fun to chop it up with you guys. We'll be back Sunday with our live reaction show to all the games we see on Saturday. Remember to follow and subscribe to your favorite SEC show. We'll be covering you throughout the offseason every day. And don't forget, I'll have you covered with the entire SEC with Locked On SEC. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Part of the #1 podcast network out there.